You're tuned in to RX Radio.
Because you started rattling off lists. I recognize zero of those movies.
So we're going favorite movies. Are we going movies you need to see? Are we going movies that Jordan would hate?
I feel like for you, those are all going to be the same.
They're pretty much all
your
the same.
favorites are going to be things that I hate that you think people are going to need to see.
Yeah, probably.
Well, maybe let's do this. What was the last movie you've seen in theaters?
Oh, the last movie I saw in theaters was...
That's so long ago. I don't remember mine.
Well, I stopped going to movies when that one got shot up in Colorado.
Oh.
The Dark Knight.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that's a lie. I saw one after that, but please continue.
All right, I'm going to say the last movie I saw in theaters was Uncut Gems.
Oh, dude, did you like that?
Yeah.
So fucking
Slaps.
good. Have you seen it? That was probably one of Adam Sandler's best films.
I have the brothers who made the movie, their other movie with Robert Pattinson, Good Times. I got a huge poster I'm going to put up.
Really?
Yeah, it's just Robert Pattinson with like box bleached hair.
It's because you hit the related links in life.
Yeah,
Like
my
you
life
go
is a
so
related
many
link.
levels deep. Like it just, you're always clicking on to the next. But you watch the full length thing and then go, oh, who produced this? I'm gonna watch all of his dumb movies.
Yeah.
too.
So what I used to do in high school is I'd go to Wikipedia when I started getting into movies, and I'd like a movie, so I'd go to Wikipedia because that's a great source for things, and I'd go to the Wikipedia page for the movie, and I would just go director click. And I would find all the movies that director made. I'd watch them. But then I would go to that guy's Wikipedia page and it'd be like strongly influenced by so-and-so. I'd be like, well, I got to check this guy out. So I'd go to his page. So it's like, I really liked Paul Thomas Anderson, who did my ultimate favorite movie of all time, which is Magnolia, where Tom Cruise plays his greatest role ever. If you're a Cruise fan, and if you're not, this can go both ways. Watch Magnolia by Paul Thomas Anderson. He plays like a motivational pickup artist for men.
Like a Hitch character, if you will.
Yeah, but the most aggressive Hitch character. Like he drops that C-bomb more times than you can count.
Isn't there a guy, like a fitness guy that's doing that? Elliot Hulse?
Is he dropping the C-bomb?
Dude, Elliot Hulse has gone off the reservation.
Yeah, this is just...
He's saying that men need to be like dominant and like that women are subservient.
But he also went the other way first, where he was like, men are subservient to women.
Who? Hulse?
Hulse. And then he was bisexual.
Shut the fuck up.
And then he flipped back.
Dude, this is people who just can't handle fame sometimes, man.
Yeah.
And that's fake YouTube fame. Crazy. Okay, so Magnolia.
All right, so Magnolia, Paul Thomas Anderson. So I was like, yo, this is possibly the movie. Like I saw this and I went, oh fuck, this is what films are, right? If you want to say movies and films,
geez,
I was
so
like, this is what it is. So then I looked up Paul Thomas Anderson, and that brought me to Robert Altman, who is one of his more favorite directors, who if you watch Paul Thomas Anderson, then we watch Robert Altman movies, you'll see a very strong correlation between the multiple storylines that all interconnect.
Right.
Like Boogie Nights. So you've got 10 characters, all 10 characters' storylines will interconnect. So he was a big fan of Altman, and he kind of did Magnolia as a tribute to not only Altman, but a movie called Shortcuts. So then I watched Shortcuts, which is based on figure this out for me. I think it's a Raymond Carver novella, Shortcuts.
Even Wikipedia.
Shortcuts, space.
Oh, it's not like a...
It's not a Serbian film. Yeah, there is the second one.
Oh, I can't even...
Dude, what are we doing here?
We got problems.
We got problems.
So movie's the problem.
Shortcuts. Is that first one there? What's that? Shortcuts. Yeah. Based on a what? Book by Raymond Carver. There you go. Characters by Raymond Carver. So this is a movie. It's got Lyle Lovett in it, Julianne Moore. It's got the dude who played Joker in Full Metal Jacket, but it's another movie. A bunch of people's lives intermingle. Matthew Modine is the guy who played Joker in Full Metal Jacket. I think he's in this. So dude, they all interconnect. And I was like, oh fuck, this guy slaps. So then the next guy I looked up was Wim Wenders. And here's where I'm going to go with the last great movie that I saw. So I looked up this dude, Wim Wenders, who did Wings of Desire, I think, but he did another movie called Paris, Texas with Harry Dean Stanton, who, if you don't know Harry Dean Stanton, you're missing out. This movie, Paris, Texas, dude, fucking ruined me. I was upset for days after I watched this movie.
Okay, in what way?
It was just so emotionally charged. It was just this dude who
That's the place, not the movie.
throughout the movie, basically, yeah, dude. This is
I
the
just
place.
closed my eyes and hit go.
Yeah, good.
I got a lot going on here. A lot of
Texas
buttons.
movie.
Yeah, Paris, Texas, Wim Wenders. I think it's Harry Dean Stanton. It's basically the movie opens up on this guy just walking through the desert in Texas, and he passes out, and basically his family has to come pick him up. And the whole story is just about this guy trying to reconnect with not only his estranged son, but estranged former like his ex-wife, I guess. And it's just so emotionally charged, and like the whole movie you're rooting for this guy, and you realize like all humans are kind of flawed.
I feel like I can come to that conclusion by a lesser emotionally charged vehicle.
Yeah, but that's cool, but it's also a great film.
You're the most unlikely person to use the word film.
But if we want to go the Wikipedia wormhole game, Kinski is in this movie.
Sweet Jesus,
Natasha Kinski, whose daughter is Klaus Kinski. Klaus Kinski is like an infamous actor who was in, there you go, Klaus Kinski. Dude, this guy is an animal. So my next favorite movie, so we've got Magnolia, we've got
that
Paris.
animal is a raccoon.
He looks like a red-tailed raccoon. Red-tailed fox, sorry.
Terrifying.
So, dude, Klaus Kinski is featured in a lot of Werner Herzog movies, but he's also in a documentary called My Favorite Fiend, because they were filming a movie in South America in which it got so heated between Herzog and Kinski that Herzog pulled a revolver on him and was going to kill him in the jungle. So they did a movie, which is my all-time favorite movie, called Fitzcarraldo. And Fitzcarraldo is about a Irish guy in, I'm going to fuck this up, but it's an Irish guy in South America. Maybe it's Argentina. And basically, he needs to make money to open his own opera house because he loves the opera and he wants to open his own opera house. So he gets a boat and he tries to farm rubber with it. But him and a bunch of South Americans actually carry the boat over the mountains.
Okay.
And now I'm done. I'm done. I gave you bangers there.
Questioned. Why do you think? What is wrong with society?
What is wrong with my brain?
No. Let's operate from. And I often feel this way, that it's an everyone else problem. So I'm going to give you the same level of empathy that I give myself when I'm not understood by other people. So I'm going to blame everyone else, myself included. What is wrong with everyone else that no one has seen anything that you just talked about? Like, why is it that you can be like, yo, bangers, but also films, be cultured, but also kind of look like Luigi with the backward hat on? So it's like, what is it? Dude, he turns this backwards. He looks like Mario. Like he's here to fix the pipe.
I'm not turning it backwards.
But it's what do people not get? Like why don't these movies pick up critical mass?
You know, it's very strange because it's also the question of like why people today can't watch a movie in black and white when people our age, like during the golden era of cinema, could watch a black and white movie.
Right.
It's like, well, what changed? People 30 could watch it then. Why can't people 30 watch it now?
Right.
And it must just be like a conditioning of our mind, I think, from childhood in seeing cartoons that were oversaturated in color. And the cartoons we watched also just laid it on so heavy what the plot was. Like Scooby-Doo just gave you all the answers. So I think when people watch movies like this, at this point in time, they just don't have the ability to sit back and let something happen. Like you said, in order to get the same emotional understanding, you're like, I could do it an easier way. Not a 3.5 hour movie about Paris, Texas, made by a German impressionist guy.
Right. So, I mean, I think the root of my question is like, do you think, and maybe dumb is the wrong word,
or
maybe it's the perfect word, but I don't know. Like there's a certain, like, I don't like slapstick movies. I don't like slapstick comedies. Like, so here's, I think, a comparison you're making.
Lundy's so upset.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
It's not dumb.
But like, so here's the example I'll make is like, I don't like potty humor.
Sure.
Like, I don't think that's like, I don't like
Fart
low hanging. Yeah, I don't like fart jokes. I like, but also, how is this guy laughing? But it also takes the 3.5 hour German impressionist movie to get a feeling out of him.
Dude, fart joke's hilarious.
Right. So that's my biggest thing is I don't think people are dumb. So we've talked about this before, but entertainment is the opiate of the masses. Right. People will sit in a theater in the same way they would sit in a church. And right. The similar idea of this amphitheater like thing, one thing that everyone's looking at, they'll regurgitate. They'll talk about the sermon for the week. but they'll quote super bad for the week
Yeah.
or whatever. So it's like, what is it about people? Maybe it's like an attention span. Maybe it's like they're wanting this to be spoon-fed. Maybe it's their inability to even pick up on the message, right? Like, do you think any of that is, because like we watched some of the same movies and I'm flabbergasted. The deer one is always the one I come back
Killing
to.
of the Sacred Deer.
Killing of the Sacred Deer
Yeah,
to me
yeah,
was
Yorgos
one of
Lanthimos.
the weirdest fucking movies I've ever seen. And I
So
think
good.
that's on the fringe of his, because I saw it. So obviously that's on like the mainstream fringe of what you watch. Yeah. It's not like the German Christmas movies you were watching the one time when I messaged you in Australia and it was 3 a.m. It was like, what is it that people are missing? What is it that I'm not looking for, or maybe willfully blinding myself that I don't find? Like, these don't find their way on Netflix. They're not top trending.
Yeah, I guess.
But why? What are they missing, or what are the people missing that like are viewing them or not viewing them?
I think it comes from the fact that a lot of people watch movies to be entertained.
Right.
And I don't think I'm necessarily watching a movie to be entertained.
What is the purpose of watching a movie then for you?
Sometimes it's like that emotional response. Like, that's a medium that gets through to me.
Okay.
Like, when I watch a movie, and like, I think we talked about this on a podcast, I can't talk to people on the phone because I can't see them emote and it makes me stressed.
Right.
When I watch a movie, I can see people emote the message of the movie and then I get it.
Now you're just so obscure. It fucking blows me away because I never know what's coming out next. I'm always a little bit scared. You have like because like you can't talk to someone on the phone. I get that. When I have to bug you with shit, I FaceTime you.
Yeah.
But you have like an eclectic version of very obscure murderous rap.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not talking to someone on the phone. You're not watching music videos. We can sit in the car and you just take the cord and you just listen to Pooh Shiesty or whatever the fuck.
Sick.
Sick. Or like what was a Diplomat, whatever the fuck. What was I don't know. You have a very obscure playlist in the sense of like if I put on a hip hop radio station, you'd be like garbage, trash.
Yeah.
What is it about? Because music obviously gets through. I mean, Lundy's,
Lundy's a big music guy.
I
We
still
love
have your
Culture
Christmas
Club.
album, by the way. Big fan of the Lumberjack Christmas album.
I didn't even know I had that.
The one that you did with Crosby.
Oh God.
That one?
Throw it out.
Nah, dude, no. But I'm such a because you're such a fan of this. This is what dictated your career path,
Yeah,
right? Like
pretty
you're
much.
such a music guy from the instrumentation, the organization, right into like I'm so into it. I want to understand the sound that I'm hearing. Like that's so fucking cool to me. But like you have a difficult time with communication verbally without that emote factor. How is it that then you can listen to, what's that one song by like WYD or whatever the fuck, where a Murder on My Mind?
Oh yeah, YNW Melly, Murder on My Mind. Woo!
But like, so here
Peter.
he can't. I won't call him because I don't want to stress him out, but I need to talk about some stressful shit. So I'll FaceTime him. But he can listen to a song about a guy who's literally admitting the crime of murdering two of his friends.
Yeah.
And was submitted as evidence at his trial, and then in which he was convicted for the song he was rapping about, or the crime he was rapping about. So how do you reconcile that?
Well, the song doesn't make me feel anything. It's fire, but like I'm not emoting to it.
But
I'm
so
not
like,
oh,
so
fuck.
movies are like a significantly different medium for you as far as like art form and how they resonate.
Yeah, and I think it wasn't something I knew until I watched like honestly that movie Magnolia. Like Good Will Hunting was the first movie I watched that like really hit home with me. Like that will always be like my all-time movie. I think that's just because I relate to it. So I was like, I definitely felt something when I watched Good Will Hunting. But when I watched Magnolia, I don't know how to describe the feeling, but I was like, oh, that's why people like movies. I saw it and I went like, oh, that's it. Like when people go like crazy about movies and film and you hear these directors are so passionate about it, I was like, whatever that is, that's the feeling I got from that movie. And then I just like chased that. I'm like, well, what's another movie that, because I'll watch movies that don't hit and I'm like, movies, whatever.
But do you find those movies that don't hit are more to the mainstream?
Not all the time.
So
A lot of the time it's mainstream movies.
Right.
Because I think I get bored of the structure because it's like a sitcom. It's like, okay, I got all the pieces.
Right.
Whereas like you'll watch something like Paris, Texas or Magnolia and you don't necessarily see the structure play out.
Okay.
Mainly because nothing happens. It's a lot of just kind of people talking to each other.
And that's always it for me, right? Like we've talked about this before, the Joseph Campbell, like the story, the hero with 1,000 faces, the hero's journey. And it's like, there is a certain palatability to the never ending amount of stories that get told the exact same way, right? Like I have a friend of mine writing a children's book, and one of the advice that I'd given to her was like, yo, read this journey or Hero of the Thousand Faces. Because what it does is it takes this hero's journey of like the first obstacle, the wise intervention, the near whatever, all of these different, you know, Disney-esque, biblical-esque, and oftentimes those are one and the same storylines. And it just gives you example after example from, you know, Mesopotamian creation myths into, you know, Cherokee resurrection myths and all of this, and like Catholicism, the Quran, everything that you can think of. And people are like, all right, this is the model that resonates with people, has resonated for thousands of years. And you go, nah, I just want to see a snapshot of life played by people who aren't actually living it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And that's what trips me up with those kind of movies, is like how I always get nervous when I watch a film and like I always have to double back to the fact that they're acting.
I think that's the beauty to me, though. Like with like the writing, when that you can write a script so well, and you have actors that act it so well that you're watching it and you're like, man, are they acting?
Yes. It's in the credits. When the credits rolls at the end, you know they're acting.
But for me, like if we were to watch Die Hard,
right,
it's so apparent that it's acting to me that it breaks that fourth wall. Like I'm removed from it.
Okay.
Where like I'll watch something, another great movie to reference is Big Chill. By the way, Big Chill references like a very famous championship game between Michigan State and Michigan in football on like American Thanksgiving weekend. But that movie has so many great actors, like Glenn Close is in it. Like the cast is big. But when you watch that movie, you forget that these people are acting.
Okay, so that's the art form in it. There's not an ask for you to suspend your disbelief.
Correct.
Okay, interesting. Where I think a lot of people use movies as an escape, and that's the first thing that they're asking for is the suspension of that disbelief. Like I can't fuck with Star Wars. Me either. I can't do space stuff in general. Maybe Spaceballs as far as I'll go.
I could do it when I was a kid, but I tried to do it again. Like I thought I was a big fan, and I immediately disliked it a lot.
Yeah, because what they're asking you to do is that immediately dispel or suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings does nothing for me.
Yeah, which as a kid it did, and now when I watch movies of that genre, I just look for like the meta overtones of storytelling on the whole, and then it just becomes a predictive thing of like, okay, you know, Gandalf and the monkey in Lion King or whatever the fuck Rafiki was are the same character, right? And you know that's coming. Like some movies literally go into a giant whale. It's like, good thing you don't have to pay the Catholic Church royalties, because I think you kind of, I've read this one before, right? Pinocchio, right? Didn't they go down to the depths and it's just the same Jonah story all over again? So, okay, that's your thing. Mm-hmm. How is it that you can be almost voyeuristic in the action of you watching a movie, where it seems like it's very Veritas over the shoulder, and it's not, at no point does it look anything different than real life?
How can I do that?
No, that's what you're looking for. That is the
exactly.
criteria. Okay.
And so like I also have a thing about any movie that follows a main character who's like the anti-hero. And not the anti-hero in like a Deadpool way.
Right.
But like in case of like a movie everyone would have seen would be Uncut Gems, is Adam Sandler makes the wrong decision every time he's presented, also with the right decision. Yeah. He chooses the wrong thing. So there's a movie by John Cassavetes, and I'm not going to remember the actor's name who plays the titular role, but it's The Killing of a Chinese Bookie. I just know my dad hates the dude who's in this, but John Cassavetes made Killing of a Chinese Bookie, and it's a movie not unlike Uncut Gems that basically follows a dude who makes every wrong decision he could possibly make.
Dry itch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you go to Killing of a Chinese Bookie, there's Ben Gazzara. Sorry, Ben Gazzara plays Ben Gazzara plays a strip club owner who basically is in it for a lot of money to the mob. The mob gets him to kill this Chinese bookie, and it's just this dude over the course of the movie who's like just watching his life fall to pieces, and he has like no way of clawing back. And I just love that plot. Like I don't know what it is. Every movie that follows this, and there's so many movies that do, I'm just like, this is great.
Do you look at it as like, I mean, there's been times in the hand of God, the last 6 months, I've reread Hero of a Thousand Faces, because it's like, okay, if this is how stuff has played out for thousands of years, there is a point where it's like, oh, I'm in the belly of the whale. Like, I'm going to die. I'm in the bottom of the ocean inside this giant thing. This is where I am. It's like, okay, what are the different stories that emulate that particular, the crescendo of that story, and how do people deal with that? And I find, like, I could watch Lord of the Rings and be like, oh shit, this is where like they think they're going to die and they don't. And it's like, oh, well, I thought I was going to die a few times and I didn't. So I'm going to watch them get through it. And I find solace in that. When I would apply that same, and maybe you don't do this, but apply that process to watching a movie like this and be like, oh, okay, all right, I'm going to write this down. So he says this. I'm going to not say that if I'm ever in this situation. Like, is there utility in it from like a tangible perspective, or is it
I think
the
it's
entertainment value?
I think it's not even, I don't even know it's entertainment for me, but I think the thing that I really enjoy about it is like, I believe that like we are all just out for self-preservation in many different ways. Like, I think we're all kind of driven from self-preservation, and to watch a movie where a guy makes every possible decision to not preserve his own self is so entertaining to me, because I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
Okay. But the thing is, I know enough people like that act in spite of their own self-preservation. No, you're the opposite.
I don't know.
You're so efficient in your pursuit of self-preservation.
I guess
It's obnoxious almost.
Yeah,
it's like, this guy is
terrifying.
Well, yeah, this guy's here for a good time and a long time. It might not be here physically, but one day you're just going to roll out and be like, deuces. But that would stress me. Like, Uncut Gems, I remember having this conversation with Marcus Leone.
Oh, it's just an anxiety attack.
Stress me the fuck out. It's like the sign could say go left, and he goes right, ugh, and then he goes right.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, just fucking go left, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't rip off Kevin Garnett's 48 karat whatever the fuck. Like, just go. But the thing is, I watch my friends live their, and I do this myself, and oftentimes myself in the last 6 months have made terrible decisions.
Yeah.
And it stresses me out going, oh God, because I watch Sandler fuck around like just this mensch jeweler in New York. And I go, this is me.
See, I watch it and I also think the same thing. I'm like, that's me. But I also revel in the fact that like it never stresses me out. I'm like, yeah, he'll be fine.
Oh, you know what I've been thinking about lately?
Roll the dice.
Spoiler alert.
Is the first Men in Black movie. When Tommy Lee, so one of my favorite franchises of
movie.
It's a great movie. The original Men in Black.
The first three. So up till the Josh Brolin one, where Josh Brolin fucking, I'm gonna say friend of the show because he knows Don, and we're gonna train together in Vegas in July.
Oh, dude, Josh Brolin's a beauty.
One of my favorite actors. You got me onto his Instagram account.
Yeah, his Instagram.
I met him at the Olympia.
His Instagram
a few
kills.
years ago, and so there's a scene at the end of the first one where it's Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith sitting on a park bench, and they're like, don't you ever get like, though that was like a close call, and Will Smith kind of has this like rookie energy to him, and Tommy Lee Jones is this old grizzled up like seen it all before guy, and he's like, yeah dude, the world's always under, we're always just barely making it, there's always some interstellar meteor alien invasion and we just figure it out, it keeps going. Like, I've thought about that like probably the last 3-4 weeks. Every single day of my life, there's some near catastrophic event in my life where I'm going to literally lose everything. And I just think of Tommy Lee Jones on the park bench at the end of Men in Black going, yeah, it's the whole thing is just, there's always some invasion going on and something. Well, we just figure it out. I was like, okay. And then I just clear my head for the rest of the day and go do the bullshit I need to do. But yeah, that's interesting. To go purposefully into that and find solace in that, it stresses me the fuck out.
I love it.
Because if I wanted some useless 3-hour thing with no end and no meaning, I have my own life.
That's true.
Yeah, no. So I can't find that utility in movies.
And I think it's like some people like certain kinds of art, right?
Yeah.
And I think movies are like art. Like Lundy loves sound. Movies have sound. People like the way stuff looks. Movies look a certain way.
Yeah, like people like Tarantino films look a certain way. M. Night Shyamalan
the worst
films.
2 directors. You named the worst.
Yeah. No, I was well aware that they are not like M. Night Shyamalan. I watched Signs and I was like, oh, I like Mel Gibson because he was a Lethal Weapon.
Not because he's an anti-Semite.
No. Which was crazy to me because that came out after he played Jesus, and I just wonder if like the recreation of him being slaughter, like, dude, it was just a movie.
Yeah.
Like the Jews didn't actually crucify you.
Yeah.
But it was like, Lethal Weapon, America's sweetheart, right? He had that hair was feathered, lethal, the plaid tucked into the Wranglers, hightailing it after the Kruger ran.
Dude, inspired my my mental health issues for years to come.
Yeah. Well,
I saw that and I went like, it's kind of me.
Yeah, but it was so weird to see him. And here's the thing with movies, right? Like I was watching a Michael Jai White interview. The guy's I just watched it because he's a fucking unit.
Yo, dude.
So Michael Jai White played in The Joker opposite Heath Ledger, and he actually
Yeah.
spoke about Heath Ledger's demeanor during the movie. And everyone's like, "Oh, he like ate mushrooms and put himself." It's like, dude, he was the most low key, laid back. It was the best set ever, right? Who produced it?
Christopher
Nolan. He's like, because everyone's like, oh man, like you had this one actor who got really committed to the role and started doing psychedelics and was like a recluse. And you also had this like crazy intense producer, director in Christopher Nolan. And Michael Jai White was like, yeah, that is all bullshit. Like it's all bullshit. It's completely laid back. So it's like, I think some people try and paint actors with unique problems based off of their job or their vocation of going in and pretending to be someone else. It's like, I know plumbers that have lost it.
Yeah.
Right. I know people who they're down in California, some guys riding the VTA rails, like a bus driver, a subway driver shot 9 people.
Yeah.
It's like, we didn't necessarily attribute that to his job, but like acting is such like an artistic medium. Like, I wonder how many people have cut their ear off before.
Yeah, until Van Gogh did it.
Yeah, you fucking paint Starry Night and all of a sudden it increases the resale value, like their Supreme fucking t-shirts or something. Yeah. But yeah, art as a medium is such a personal thing, but it's hard for me to sit back and just accept other people's subjectification of it while I can objectively look at what they're doing and go, that's silly to me. But it's silly based off of my subjective preference of what that medium is.
Yeah, and I think like I'll watch movies for a quality about them.
Right.
It's like, oh, this guy's movies look really cool. So I'm like, I just watch them because like, oh, they're cool looking. It's stylistic. Or there's like certain directorial things that they'll do. Or it's like some guy wrote a certain movie. It's like, I want to watch it because I really like the writing. I like the characters, like Altman movies and Magnolia and Paris, Texas, like Wim Wenders and Altman and Anderson. Like, I like the way they write. I like the way they arrange these movies. Like, they're really interesting stylistically. So I'll watch those. And then, like, I also like other stuff that's just like, I don't just like these weird movies. Like, I'll also watch bangers like, dude, Gladiator.
Yeah.
Crushes. Like,
So
I could
good.
watch Gladiator 1,000 times.
Gladiator fucks.
Lethal Weapon, fucking great. So that's like Shane Black does buddy comedies. Like, Shane Black did Lethal Weapon. Shane Black did
He's making it nerdy. Make him stop.
no
I don't know how he has when he rattles this shit off, it's like immediate. This guy did this.
This is how I feel people must feel when I talk about stuff at work.
but you talk about stuff that's smart. You're like multifidus, you know.
Nah, it's the same thing, just by a different name. It's the same
Yes.
drop down.
Hey guys, it's Kyle. The power went out literally in the middle of that sentence, so that's the end of the podcast. I know it's a short one, but if you guys want us to continue on this topic or maybe do other favorite things, movies, music, whatever it is, food, who knows, head over to our YouTube and comment on this video, or you can head over to Instagram and just tell us we want more. We got another great podcast next week, so stay tuned and we'll see you then.